Well, as I'm looking around, I'm like, Mike, what's your perspective on people um, where they have just a little bit, they want to hold on to it so tight, and then I know the guys that have a lot, man. We're just like give it away, church donations, charity, time. I'm like, let's do
Absolutely.
it. What is that?
Yeah,
What is the
that's a
perspective?
great dude. That's a great question. I think it's interesting. I think people think, and I've seen people do this. In fact, I made a post a while ago about JJ Watt. If you don't know JJ Watt, he's a big time football player. When he got $100 million contract, he Googled, what do rich people buy? Because
Ah,
he had never been rich. He was just a
hmm,
country boy, Texas country boy. But here's the
yeah.
thing: he gave tons of money to people that had debt and just got people out of debt. One Christmas, and I posted that, and somebody posted, "Well, it's easy to give people money when you have it, right?" So I
Hmm.
think the misnomer is, well, you and I give more money away because we have more money to give. And
Mm,
I think that's the wrong. I think that's inverted. People, the reason we have it is because we give it. I personally think you get there by giving. You don't get there by hoarding. You know what I mean? When you first of all,
hmm,
I know this is my thought, Chris, and you can. When I'm holding on to the few dollars I have, I'm telling myself there's only a few. It's like a
mm,
scarcity mindset. Like there's only
mhm,
a few. I'm holding on to them. Like there's only a few. Well, that tells my body there's only a few. It's a small amount.
mhm.
And I had somebody tell me one time with a closed fist. Heard somebody say God can't put more in your hand with a closed fist.
That's a good point. That's a good
He
point.
says you open that hand up, and God can put a heck of a lot more there when your hand is open. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
And
That's a good point. I missed this call. Anyway, that's a good
no,
point there, man. I love that.
you,
I love that.
you know, and I thought about that. Over the years, I'm like, God can put a whole lot more there. My hands are open. You know what I
That's
mean?
a daggone good
And
point.
and so, and I think that, and I think too, I think that giving is also a vacuum. I think when you give, it like sucks more in to replace it. You give, it
Wow.
sucks more in to replace it, and give, and that happens all the time, right? So for me, I think that when people, the more people give, the more they move forward. The more they invest, the more they move forward, and so they want to keep giving. Like my wife and I have continued to, year after year, one of our desires is to continue to increase our giving to our church more, and increase our giving more every year. We want to give more
Uh-huh.
every year, and to us, that's kind of a success principle. I don't know. How about you, man? What do you think?
I,
How do
I
you
gotta
think?
tell
What do
you,
you think?
I'm scared not to do it. I'm like when that
Mm,
my mentor, he had all this stuff. He had so much. He had houses. He had a beachfront house, 2 Hummers. And when he
yeah,
lost it all, he was like, you know what, Chris, I didn't give none to the church. Nothing. He told me he didn't do tithes. I'm like, holy cow. He said that was his
yeah,
biggest downfall. So I'm just like, I'm almost scared not to give this stuff away, yo. I'm just like, I don't want to
yeah,
hold on to it all.
yeah.
I'm like,
I think that,
how dare
and I
you?
just think that, yeah, no, I think that's true. To whom much is given, much is required, right?
Yeah.
And so it is a giving is a huge, huge, huge principle.
Uh,
Giving and having, by the way, are not enemies. And I think people think they're enemies. If I give, then
I
I
won't
can't.
have.
Let's say, yeah, I won't have. I
Mm,
think one of my dreams is to have a. Let's say one of my dreams is to have a Lamborghini. I don't care about
mhm.
having a Lamborghini, but let's say that was one of my dreams. And I
Yeah.
think, well, if I give, then I can't have. Or the flip side, if I have, that means I'm selfish and I'm not
Mm,
giving. And see,
mm.
that's the problem. I think we have to see them like this.
It's
We have
both
to
the
see them
same.
as inseparable entities of what. I mean, think about it. If you invest into your lifestyle, let's say you ramp your lifestyle up a little bit, and then that ramps your mindset up and you start earning more money, so you have more to give.
That's
Lifestyle
true.
often drives your income, which gives you more to give. So I think that giving and having has been enemies over the years, and I don't think
Mhm.
they need to. I think they're beautiful partners if we let them be. That's
Good
at
point.
least my my 2 cents for the day. And so
No,
how
that's a
about
good
you,
point.
man? What do you, but I
That's
mean,
a good
you
point. They're the
you
same
see
thing.
people.
I had
Yeah,
to turn my
I
mind
think so.
around of what I had to turn it. I was reading T. Harv Eker. He goes, it's not the saying is it's better to give than receive. And he was like, that's not the truth. That's not the truth. It's better to be in a position to give, but the receiver has to
Mm,
get something too. So I'm like, don't rob me of the
mm, blessing of
ability.
giving.
Yeah, I'm just like, I feel my wife, I keep telling my wife, I'm like, yo, I get happy. What my happiness is in the giving. That is what
Yeah,
makes me happy to give. That's
Totally,
Miami.
totally, totally. And I think that I don't know about you, Chris, but I think that there's something where when you say it's more, it's more blessed to give than receive. And I think too, when we are giving things away, I would always rather give than receive because it pushes you in a position to bless people. A lot of times when you're receiving, you feel like you're taking or
That's
you're
true.
a charity case. And by the way, that's not
That's the
true,
same.
by
They're
the way.
both the
That's not
same.
true. Every single one of us,
They're
every
both the
single one of us
same.
has been given something.
Yeah,
Like there are no self-made millionaires in this world. There's
X,
none.
no, man.
People have invested in them, whether it's a mom taking them to baseball practice or whatever. People have
Yeah,
given to those and people,
that's
and
right.
so there are no self-made. So whether you're giving or receiving, it's a circle, man. It's a
All right.
circle.
Sorry about that,
That's
y'all.
a
To get
that's
too
the
metaphysical.
that's the philosophy of the day.
Yeah, I don't want to get too metaphysical on y'all too deep, but I'm here to tell you that is the secret sauce that keeps you above board and keeps you blowing up. You gotta learn how to give. Right now, I'm prostituting my body, my resources, time, efforts. Yes, we're gonna make a few dollars here and there. However, it's the time that we give back. We could be out making money. I could be out doing real estate. I was talking to Mike about a deal. We both talking about deals before we get on here. Mike's on vacation in Sedona in Arizona. Mike, thanks for coming on here with me, bro.
Hey, thank you so much, man. Yeah, my wife and I we always take the end of the year off. Last year we moved, so we didn't take that time off, and I'll never do that again. So this year we are up in beautiful Sedona, just taking a breather. And
I know it's
Chris texted me
gorgeous.
this morning, and if there aren't too many people. In fact, I can only think of a couple that I'd come off my vacation with, and you're one of them, buddy. And so I appreciate you giving us this time, man.
Yeah, so I'm going to be a pilot. I'm Chris Haskins. My mission and ministry is to raise your financial literacy through real estate investing and entrepreneurship. Mike, you can head on over to Facebook if you want to go ahead and share that real quick.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Roundup. We're working on a lot of stuff, Mike and I
Absolutely.
too. We got this the mastermind for next year, and Mike and I are doing a personal meeting in January, which I haven't even told y'all about, yo. Mike and I are just gonna be at a resort, just us together, nobody else. And I asked Mike if it would be a good idea if we could maybe invite one or two of y'all that wanted to come. Yes, there's going to be a fee to hang out with us, but where else in the world you're going to just get both of us at a hotel, nobody else, just talk about building your business. So y'all stay tuned for that. Make sure you are subscribed and hit the bell so you know when we come back on and announce that. But today, as we get into the new year, I thought it would be nothing but a pleasure to talk about something that I'm actually going to be getting into next year with Mike, one of the few guys that I trust to do this stuff. Mike, multifamily CEO, you've been doing this forever. You've got hundreds of doors. You know exactly how to raise the money, how to manage the tenants, how to manage the managers. What's wrong? Give it a hoverboard back. Sorry, manages tenants. He knows how to manage the managers, which is the real skill. Manage the
Mm.
managers. Forget managing people. That's one skill. But then you manage the people that manage the people. That is the Mac Daddy skill. Mike Fritz, multifamily CEO. What up, my brother?
Hey man, good to be with you again, man. I feel like when we get together, it's always fun to hang out and just chat real estate, chat life, chat success.
Yeah.
We're on the cusp of another year, dude. We're about to bust into 2020,
Hmm.
and I say we leave our excuses in 2021, and we go
I
into
like that.
2022, man, and just let's crush this year. Let's help a ton of people.
Yeah.
And but yeah, man, multifamily real estate is one of those. It's one of those things that if you know how to do it the right way, could really make a huge difference in not just your life, but your mindset in your real estate career. Because it's going to take a mindset shift. It's going to take you becoming a different human. People always say, Jim Rohn used to say, "Don't set goals that don't require you to change in order to get them."
Mm.
And multifamily is one of those things. It requires you to become a different kind of thinker because it's different. It's a different kind of asset than a single family piece of real estate. There's shared utilities, for example.
Mm.
Tenants are sharing the trash. Well, how do you break that up? They're sharing. When you walk into the hallway to go into an apartment, well, that light that's on, that electricity is shared by the tenants. That's called a
Mm.
shared utility. The sewer, people are running their sinks and faucets and showers and toilets, and it goes out and there's a fee. That's a shared utility. So in multifamily, It's a little different. There's some nuance here that once you understand that, multifamily is one of the most powerful assets in the world to really grow your real estate net worth and grow your income. And
That
this
is
is one of the
cool.
things, reasons why I'm so passionate about it
Let me
and
get
helping people
Beverly
get
right
into it.
now. You know what's weird? I love it when people think I do this, those forever webinars and we're not really live.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Beverly,
yeah.
don't mess with me. You know I don't play that stuff. This is live right now. It's
December
December.
20,
What is it?
December 28th. December 28th. This is December 20. I'll even hold up my phone right now. See my phone right there? It says December
Mm,
28th. That is
there
today,
you go.
ladies and gentlemen.
Beverly, you know I love you. I ain't gonna stick you on here with the old thing. I don't do that to my homies, man. I don't play that. I know a lot of guys do.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've
yeah,
had
yeah,
Mike
yeah.
on here before, but my thing is, look, we're passing 90,000 subscribers. I want to get the word out. Mike, I heard you say do it the right way. Am I sure? Stop messing. I heard you say the right way. I did real estate the wrong way at first, right? Give us an example. Give us a picture of what the wrong way doing multifamily looks like.
All right, so I'll give you the picture. So years ago, my wife was and I were trying to buy a property at a time. We lived in a duplex, so we did what's called house hacking. We rented it one. We bought a duplex, rented half out, and lived in the other half. Now that's a great idea. That's not necessarily the wrong way. Here's the wrong way. We didn't have the money to buy another property, so we just waited to save up, and we found a deal, seller financing. But here's the problem. I got into that deal, low money down. It was a perfect deal, but I was the manager. So every
Mm,
time a tenant had a light bulb out, or a tenant had a toilet leak, or the door didn't work, or a key they got locked out, I was called. So what
mhm.
I realized is every time I bought a property, think about this. When you buy a piece of real estate, that's a celebration, right? I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know about you, Chris. I still celebrate when I
every one
close a
of them.
deal, right?
Yeah.
Every one of them. Well, imagine closing a deal and all that means is you have less time.
Yeah,
Imagine
that's true.
closing a deal and all that means is your time is gone. You got more calls, more people to deal with, more XYZ, more toilets to fix. I mean, so now every time your successes actually leads to your demise. And so
Wow.
that's part of the wrong way to do real estate. Chris talked about a minute ago about managing the managers. Man, I can tell you the first time I hired a property manager, because I was always broke mindset, man. I'll be perfectly honest with y'all today. I was broke mindset. And I said, here's the thing, I can't pay a property manager. It's going to take all my profit away. But what I didn't realize is all the time I was spent fixing toilets, I could be going and finding more deals. I
Mm,
can go going finding more investors. I can pay somebody $15 an hour to fix a toilet. I can't pay
mhm,
somebody $15 an hour to go find me another deal or raise
mhm.
capital. I,
Good
I
point.
ain't finding that. I ain't finding that person. So the wrong way for me was when my wife and I would buy a property, and I was finding the next tenant. I remember I had to travel out of town one time. My wife had to meet tenants there, and she's
Mm,
showing them around, and I'm just like, man, this is a lot. So that means every time we close, we have more people to deal with like this. So I'm
wow.
like, this isn't the way to do this until I invested in a real estate tour, and I went to this real estate tour, and I heard this person talk about management, property management. And I'm like, okay, I've heard that term. I know they take part of your fee. He goes, yeah, but that's not what they really do. What they do is ensure the property's success if you get a good one. And I'm like, okay, talk to me more about that. It's well,
Mhm.
your job's to get it, their job's to make it win. Your job's to lead the process. And I thought
Lead.
that's lead. Exactly, man. It's
Mm.
leadership. And I don't know about you, Chris, but when I got into real estate, I didn't think about becoming a good leader. I never did
Heck no. I'm trying
until,
to get
and
paid.
yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to get my property either filled with a tenant or maybe sold or buy. I mean, I'm not thinking about being a leader. And little did I know that's what I was being
Turning into.
called to be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and
deep.
thinking
That's
about real
deep.
estate like a leader, like, oh,
That's
I'm
deep.
managing a property manager, I'm managing investors, I'm managing my teams, I'm managing my people. That's leadership. And
Sweet.
man, nobody goes to read John Maxwell books when it comes to multifamily. But let me tell you something, it's something that we have to start thinking about a little differently.
Happy holidays, Marianne Shelton, one of our members. Thank you so much for joining us. This is one of our members. She helps me to continue to bring on people like Mike Don't forget, we'll do Q&A at the end. And if you want to get your question answered first, there's a little join button down there right below for all of our members, our channel members. It's going to cost you nothing but a large Starbucks coffee a month. It allows me to keep making content, bring on people like Mike, because it takes time for not only my team to find these guys, to work with them, put all this stuff together. And it's a little something for business professionals and entrepreneurs to join the membership channel. And we're working on NFTs. I talked to Mike this morning. Oh, man, we have got so much good stuff for you for 2022. Plus, for the New Year's special, Mike has got a special thing he's going to be giving us for this multi-family training, the multifamily CEO training. So make sure you stay tuned for that. He's going to be throwing in some tickets to the event. Mike, I don't want to let it all go. So 50 people here hanging out. You got your presentation, and I guess you're going to tell us a quick story about how you got into multifamily, and then we'll get rocking and rolling.
Definitely, man. Definitely. So multifamily for me was actually an accident. I was a builder by trade. All my family were licensed builders. So when I got married young, man. I got engaged at 19, married at 20, and I was a builder. And so I went to we couldn't afford much of an apartment. I wasn't making hardly any money. I was making $10 an hour working as a laborer in construction. I didn't get my license till a few years later. And so I was kind of like, okay, but I did know how to build houses. So I had I went and got a loan. My parents helped me get a loan. Again, I'm only 19. I don't have any credit. I mean, credit at that time, they're like, dude, you don't have any credit. You never made a payment on anything. But I built this duplex, and my wife and I moved into half, and we rented the other half out. Now, here's why I tell you that story. I didn't know what I was doing. I just was trying to avoid a mortgage payment. That's all I was doing. And we lived for $100 a month in a brand new place.
Sweet.
Now, what I want to say is, I wish back then I'd actually known what I was onto, but I didn't really know what I was onto until I was about 33, 34 years old, when I went to my first real estate training and started learning real estate. So when I started getting back into real estate in 2012 and 13, again, we bought another duplex. We had sold all our real estate off, got back into real estate, and I bought a duplex, moved in half, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then we found a 3-unit, and then another duplex, and we just started to piece a little portfolio together. But there was 2 things I didn't know. I didn't know how to manage a lot of units, and I didn't know how to get the money for a lot of units, because I always thought you had to use your own money to buy real estate. And that changed everything for me. Chris and I talk a lot about private money. You've probably seen us around the internet talking about private money, because it's literally probably the key that's unlocked my entire life. That one skill.
Yep.
And so multifamily for me was, I like to buy one property, and I like to have a lot of people living there. And here's why. If you have let's say just a 4-unit building, if one person moves out, you still have 3 people paying your bills.
Mm-hmm.
You have a single family home. Single family homes make a lot of money, but it's either 100% occupied, 100% vacant. Mm-hmm. And so I like to have a little like insurance policy against somebody just moving out. And I'm like, well, hey, if somebody moves out, I've got a little bit of I've got a little bit of barrier here. So there's a couple reasons why I love multifamily. Number one, it's more streams of revenue for one footprint of property. Number two, there's something in multifamily real estate called forced appreciation. Forced appreciation. Forced appreciation is something where 5 units and above is, by the way, considered commercial. And 5 units and above, when a bank looks at a business, when it values the business, it values it based off the income. Well, guess what? 5 units and above, the bank looks at the multifamily building like business. The more income it makes, the more it's worth.
As opposed to single family is
comps in the area, square footage. It's the market. It's where it's located, the street it's on. Yep, okay. Exactly. Right. So multifamily, think about this. Let's say you buy a piece of multifamily and it's, $750 a month, but market rent in that area is $950. You raise that rent, your building's worth more money. Mm-hmm. You control the speed limit of appreciation. And that's what I love about multifamily is I have a little control over appreciating that property. And so 1 is more tenants, more people paying my bills. 2 is I love that forced appreciation. And 3 is I love that passive revenue. Now, this is also true of single family, by the way, But I love that passive revenue coming in every month. By the way, throw in the chat if anybody, Chris, I know you've heard the statement. How many of you have ever heard the statement, money doesn't grow on trees? Right?
Yeah, a lot going on.
Yeah, growing up, parents always say that when you ask them for something, money doesn't grow on trees. Here's what I say now to that statement. People that say money doesn't grow on trees obviously don't own multifamily real estate, because mine grows every single month. And then the month after that, and then the month after that. And so it does grow on trees. You just got to own the right trees.
Own the right
You got to
tree.
own the right trees. You got to own the right trees. And so, but multifamily real estate does, it creates that passive income. And then there's some massive tax implications to your benefit of owning multifamily. You can depreciate. Most people, if you understand depreciation, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds here, but there's a window the IRS allows you to depreciate a property, meaning every year on your taxes, you get to act like your property is worth less money. By the way, in reality, it's worth more money. What other asset do you get to do that with? What other investment do you get to depreciate on your taxes? What appreciates in reality? Boom.
That's what
I mean,
makes
like,
me in real estate.
if you ain't in real estate, you're crazy. Yeah, exactly. It's the craziest thing ever. It's the best thing ever. I love it. I love it like crazy. And so anyway, all that to say, I love the tax implications as well. So multifamily is just one of these assets that is a killer asset to invest in. And if you do it the right way, a lot of people fix and flip houses. Chris, you know this. You're really good in this space. A lot of people fix and flip houses, and they get big chunks of revenue per deal, right? They get that chunk of revenue per deal. Boom, boom. Could be 50,000, could be 10,000, depending on how big the flip is. Could be a couple 100,000. It depends on the size of the deal. You know, but you get that nice big shot of revenue, which is sweet, right? Well, what if every time you closed on a multifamily deal, you could get the very same thing?
Wow.
You could get the very same thing. So you're like, well, how do you get that? Yeah, I'm going to show you exactly how to get that. So
let's do it. Yeah,
Chris,
that's what.
Yeah, you okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all. Go ahead. You can go ahead and pull that up. Let me go ahead and pull that up. I'm going to show you all a deal that I did this last year. And it's an 8-unit property, but I'm going to show you this deal and walk you through the numbers. I'm going to walk you through what the deal was, how I found it, all this kind of stuff. But more importantly, I want you to see what a property can make, how you can bust into the property, how you can apply these strategies in your own life. But instead of just talking in theory, I wanted to show you a real deal, just like one that Chris actually, when he called me, he's like, hey, let's show them real stuff. Let's just not talk theory. And that's what I love about Chris's channel and what he does. It's real people doing real stuff. Right. So this is an 8-unit property we did right next to the Notre Dame campus.
Let me reintroduce you real quick, Mike, for people that just joined. That's 75 people here. Mike, round up. Thank you for hanging out with us. Happy New Year to you. This is Chris Haskins. I'm hanging out with Mike Fritz. He is in Sedona, Arizona. I'm in Virginia Beach area. Mike is a multifamily CEO. Been investing in multifamily for many years. He's got hundreds of doors. So I asked him to come on and give my roundup, homies, just an overview of what multifamily looks like for him. And he's going to be giving us some New Year's goodies in a few minutes. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Okay, Mike, take it away.
Hey, man. Thank you all. If you're just joining us, welcome. So glad to have you all here and hear a little bit about multifamily real estate. As we always do, Chris and I'll do some Q&A at the end as well. So make sure you get your questions in.
Get your questions
in. Yeah, because I love to answer those. So, but this is a real property on a real street on a real town that I own, and the reason I wanted to show you this is I wanted to show you that this isn't theory. This is real stuff. This is a property, and every single one of you listening could do a deal like this. And I'm going to walk you through how we structure that deal and how we manage that deal. But I really want you to see first. This is just a matter of doing the right strategy. So I don't care if you think, yeah, but I'm a single family guy, multifamily kind of freaks me out. Or if you're like, man, I'd love to get into multifamily, just never really found out how to do that. Or if you're like, I'm ready, but need some tips. So wherever you're at on the spectrum, I want to walk you through a real deal to show you this is real stuff and you could do this. You could really do this. Okay. So the very first thing is when I walk through a deal, I like people to know how I found it, how I funded it, how I operate it, and then how much money I actually earn from this deal. That way you can understand a little bit of the process. Because when we walk through a process, when Mike Fritz's team walks through a process, we walk through finding it, funding it, operating it, and then, then we get to earn. And those four things play into every deal. And now you'll get to see the process. As you walk through this with me, you'll get to see the process of how did we find it? How did we fund it? Etc. Okay. So this is a walkthrough of the deal. So before I go to the how I funded it piece, I want to talk a little bit about how I found it. So finding deals right now, if you are in real estate at any level, right now we are in what we call an inventory short market, meaning you got to work a little bit harder to find deals. I don't know, Chris, you finding that too? You got to work a little harder to surface some good deals?
Oh yeah, it's just not as many. Not only just not as many people selling. It's just not that
Exactly.
many available properties even on the market to buy.
Exactly. It's the same in multifamily. Is it's a little bit harder to find deals. But here's what I tell people all the time. When people tell me, yeah, but deals are so hard to come by, we've done deals all year.
No,
And
we
so
have
when
to.
people say that, I'm like, it's a mindset thing too.
Yeah, it is.
Chris is doing deals right now. And in an inventory short market, he's still surfacing and doing deals. You might have to shift your strategy. You might have to learn how to do a few more push-ups per deal, but it's a mindset thing. So just understand as you approach this, just mindset shift to make sure that you understand the good deals are out there. We just may have to look at a few more deals to find the good ones. That's all.
Yeah.
And so the way we find all of our deals, and I can tell you this, all of our deals, is by contacting commercial real estate brokers in the markets we want to connect with. So if I'm really big in Lexington, Kentucky, and I'm really big in, I own quite a few properties in South Bend, Indiana, and I own some down in Texas, and a few in Michigan. There's a couple markets that are kind of things that I target in on. But when I go into a market, there's three people I need to find. There's a three-pronged team in every market I go into. Y'all ready? Here it is. A real estate broker, somebody to help me find deals, a bank, and a property manager. Those are my three smoking guns. If I have that three-pronged team, oh baby, I'm golden. And so what I do is I go into the area. I go to our good old friend Google, start finding some commercial brokers. Start calling them up. What do you got? What do you got? And they started surfacing deals. And that's exactly how I found this deal. They called me one day, hey, Mike, got a deal you might be interested in, shot it to me. I was interested in that deal. And then we ended up taking that deal down. So the way we found this deal is by connecting with brokers that have these kinds of deals on their docket. Because in commercial, by the way, it's a little different than single family. When a broker gets a deal, they don't throw it on the MLS day one. They reach out to their real estate agents like me and see if they can also find the buyer so that they can get both the seller side of the commission and the buyer side of the commission. So they don't want to put it on the MLS and just let any broker bring them a buyer. They want to go out to their network of investors like you and me, and they call you and they say, hey, are you interested in a deal like this? So this is why it's good to start building relationships with brokers. So this is how I found that deal.
Sweet.
And then how I funded it, man. I mean, Chris, I don't know about you, but I don't know of a better way to get into real estate than raising private capital. You and I both know this. And so the very first thing we do with every deal is we figure out how much money we need to raise to get the deal done. So we raise about 30% of the asking or sale price, and then we get a loan for the rest. So we go to the bank and get a loan for the rest. And sometimes our investors go on that loan with us, and then we bounce that deal to the finish line. But I raise private capital. Can you imagine getting into these deals? I own this deal with not one single dollar out of pocket.
Wow.
No money. Back in the day when my wife and I were buying 2 units and 3 units and 4 units, which were all great properties at the time, and they were really good to us. So I don't want to down that at all. But I also, man, if I knew about private money back then, I wouldn't have been buying duplexes. I'd have been buying big boys because I just didn't know. I mean, this is why when people say ignorance is bliss, I'm going to beg to differ. Ignorance has cost me a lot of money over the years. I don't know about you, Chris, but man, ignorance has reached into my wallet several times. Yeah. And so, that's why I love channels like this, like Chris's, because he's trying to wipe out ignorance in the real estate entrepreneurship space. I love that because there's a lot of it. There's a lot of it, man. And I'll tell you, I wish that I'll tell you a 3-minute story of raising private capital. Maybe you've heard me tell this before. In 2010, I was a teacher making $37,000 a year of pre-tax income, meaning I was bringing home about maybe $2,800 a month. Not making a lot of money. I was really. That's why I had to live in a duplex, because I couldn't afford really a rent payment. And but we found an 18-unit apartment building. Remember, 2008, 2009 real estate market crashed, right?
Yeah.
We found an 18-unit apartment building for $184,000. People, 184 grand.
Wow.
I mean, unbelievable. 18 units for 184 grand. Crazy. But because of the banks, they tightened up. They wanted 20% down. Well, that means that I needed to come up with like $37,000. I turned to my wife and I'm like, who in the world has $37,000 sitting in the bank? Of course, this was my broke mindset, not knowing a lot of people had that kind of money. And
That's funny.
and so we ended up passing on that deal. You can all cry with me when I say this part of the story. Last year, that deal sold for $1.3 million.
Good Lord.
$1.3 million because I couldn't raise 37 grand because I didn't know what I was doing.
Lord.
So when people talk to me about this industry, the reason we're so passionate about this stuff is because when you know it, it changes your life. That's how it changes meaning that deal could have paid me $100,000 a year over the last 10 years, not counting the rental income, just the appreciation, had I owned that property. Wow. It could have paid me a 6-figure salary. That's the power. That's the power of this info. Yeah, that does hurt. I need to move on because I'm about to start crying.
Yeah.
But then we raise that capital, then we get bank money for the rest. But here's what I want you to continue to see. You don't have to put your capital into it. See, a lot of people think, yeah, but investors aren't going to invest in my deals if I'm not putting capital in. Mine do every single time I buy a deal. So you can. You don't have to have capital, but you do need to know the strategy of how to do this and how to raise the capital. So we raised money for this deal, and then we got a bank for the rest. Now,
can build it.
Yeah, inside, by the way, this is a fully renovated building, granite countertops, cherry cabinets. I mean, it's just beautiful. It's just absolutely stunning. So this was a $1.2 million building. By the way, we got it appraised at $1.3 million, which was awesome. We walked in with $100,000 in equity, which made our investors very happy. And I needed $350,000 cash to close this deal, meaning I needed about $350,000 for these things: for the down payment, closing costs, inspection, appraisal, and what we call an acquisition fee. So when you close on one of these deals, these are the things you need money for. And by the way, we didn't raise any money in this for this deal for improvements. Sometimes we get there, the roof's shot. So we need to raise a little bit extra to fix up the roof when we first get the property. This deal was fully renovated. It was turnkey. We didn't have to do any of that. Now, again, it was more expensive because it was turnkey. If it needed all that work, it would have been less money. So it's not like you're paying a premium for a beat up property kind of thing. But these are all the things that you raise the capital for. And so here's how I operate. I'm going to walk you through the numbers in just a minute on how much I make. So let me go through that one more time, just so you understand that it's $1.2 million is the asking price, or the sale price, and we needed $350,000 to get this to finish line, and we got this from private money and bank money. Okay, none of my pocket.
Give us real quick, Mike. What is your definition? Give us a definition, 40,000-foot view definition of what a private money is. So they can
private.
Are you getting to that later?
Yeah. So no, I'll answer right now. That's a good question, Chris. Private money is literally money from private people. It's money from everyday Joes. It's money from Sarah at Whole Foods and John from XYZ Plumbing Company. Private money is just money from everyday average people that don't do it professionally. That's all private money is.
All right.
When we say institutional money, that's like bank money, that kind of stuff, or conventional money, that's bank money. But private money, that's like that's like the person you sit next to at church, and the person you work with, and the guy that you play golf with or play basketball with, or get together at the Super Bowl party with. It's everyday Joes that have money in maybe their retirement accounts or in the bank or in their own house that they
CDs,
can
yeah.
refi out, CDs, all these
Okay.
kinds of things where they can invest in real estate.
I just wanted
So
to
that's a
make sure
great,
people understood private money because I didn't know
that's,
what the hell. I'm like, private money, what is it? So
no, it's a
we
great
call it
question.
ordinary ma and pa's, y'all. These are just
Yep,
ma, just like me. I'm
exactly.
ma pa. Ordinary people. Okay. So when you think about private money, it's not like when somebody says I'm a private money lender, you need to run away from that. They don't
It's so true. It's so true.
they
It is so true. Yeah.
I haven't
No,
met not
you
one,
don't
and
want
I
people
do
to
this
do it
full time.
professionally.
Yeah, I do this. I do this
Yeah.
every time I meet somebody that says I'm a private lender. I'm like, nice meeting you. No, thank you. They're gonna try to sock it to you. Okay, sorry about that, Mike.
Exactly. No, it's true though. It's very true because the average day mom and pops, they're going to be able to make more money in your deal if you do it right than they
Mhm.
are going to make in a lot of other investments, and it's a lot
Oh
safer.
man,
And so you're doing them a service. It's
yep.
amazing. I love private money. How I operate it. So I hire a property manager in that area that collects all the rents, runs all the, if a tenant moves out, they fill it, they clean it, they do all the work. They have actually has an in-house maintenance team. So if the furnace breaks, they fix it, etc. Okay.
Mm.
So they're the ones that are doing everything. So we hired a property manager and they manage the property for us. And I talked to her. She manages about 300 properties in the area or units in the area.
Hmm.
And I talked to her anywhere from when I first get a property, I'm talking to her maybe once to twice a week. And
Hmm.
then that goes down like to maybe once every other week, maybe once a month, as long as the property starts to get really well. So after about 3, 4, 5 months, you're only talking to them, every now and then. My
Hmm.
property's in Michigan. When we had I talked to that manager once a month, maybe. And
Wow,
so again, it's just that manager's just managing that property for you.
that's
Okay.
so
They're
cool.
just managing that property for you. And so then everybody wants to know, okay, so if let's say I get a deal like this, how much do I make? What do I make on the deal? Okay. So I charge an acquisition fee of $30,000 to do this deal. So who do I charge that to? I'm going to tell you that in a second. But think about it. You have to find the deal. You may have to go and communicate with a bank. You need to communicate with a property manager. You're doing all of that. So who's paying? How are you getting paid for that? So we charge a fee that pays us to do all the work to put the deal in place.
Mhm.
Investors wouldn't have these deals if it wasn't for us. So who pays that money? Our private investors. The investors who invested and gave me that 350,000. Part of that 350,000 is this $30,000 acquisition fee. Right? Remember,
I
I
see.
listed all those things. And so I get paid. So a lot of you that are, doing fix and flips are awesome, by the way. I'm not down in that, but man, if you also could charge a fee, get the deal, and hold on to it and make passive cash flow. Man, this fee changed my life, Chris. I ain't telling you. I ain't kidding, brother. You start getting fees when you close, it's addicting.
That's
I'll
a
tell
flip
you.
right there.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, you get to keep the cash flow, right?
Hmm.
And so here's how this works in my first year. So I charge a $30,000 acquisition fee. There's an asset management fee I charge of 2% of gross income, which is $250 a month. So that ends up being about, what's that, $3,000?
Hmm.
$3,000 a year. So what is an asset management fee? Well, when the property manager has to have a question answered, who they call? You. So we charge them to manage the manager. So I charge the deal another $3,000 a year. Whoops, sorry about that. And then I'm also going to make $1,000 a month from the equity of my equity. And I'm going to own, by the way, I'm going to own about 30% of this deal. So I'm going to give my investor 70%. I'm going to keep 30. So I make about $1,000 a month on this deal. That's 12,000 a year. So my first year, I'm going to make about 45 grand on this deal. And then I'm going to make on average 15-ish thousand a year after that every single year. So here's the power of a deal like this. It's one deal creates a $45,000 a year income your first year. Now, I don't know how much you make, but imagine doing 2 of these. That's a good starter income to get you going, right? Depending on where you live in the country. You might need to make more than that depending on where you live or your standard of living. But all I'm saying is the fees are how you replace your income with multifamily,
Hmm.
right? It's how you replace your income. So this is why I love multifamily, by the way. This is how I love multifamily. And this is why I think everybody should at least consider this is the asset class, man, to really start focusing in on in 2022. Chris, do you want to start asking questions now, or you want me to talk a little bit about the goodies we put together for them first?
Yeah, let's do this. I'm gonna put this round up. Make sure put your questions in. I didn't see but a few over there, but I think
Okay,
obviously
get them.
people want to know how much I've been hounding you as you were on your vacation to put together something for my roundup homies.
Yeah,
Put your questions in the
I
chat.
put
Go ahead.
together. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, get your questions in. Thanks a bunch again for calling in. This is always fun to chat. So yeah, so we put together a New Year's bundle for you guys that I want to talk to you about. This is one of our students that just closed a 24-unit deal in Cincinnati. Brian and Terry, his wife, just closed a 24-unit deal, applying
Wow.
these exact strategies. He's in our program, and now
Sweet.
he has great cash flow. He raised the capital, and he is crushing it. Why? Because there's a specific way you reach out to brokers. How do they like to be reached out? How do you make sure you hire the right property manager? Hiring the wrong property manager actually cost me the most money I've ever lost in real estate.
Give us a
And
story on that, Mike. We got a few seconds out because I have horror stories for property managers.
oh, yeah, dude.
I
So
wanted
my
to do
property
a whole
manager,
s I wanted to do a whole just segment of just
oh,
horror stories for property
horror
managers.
stories.
You just do one real quick to get it out of the way.
Well, so when I went into South Bend, ironically, it was in this town. I bought a 23-unit portfolio of single family homes and some duplexes and stuff. This was my first deal in South Bend, and this was 2 years ago now. And when I hired my first property manager, I Googled and I started vetting managers in the area, and I called this person.
You
She
thought you was
presented
doing
very
something,
well.
didn't you?
Oh yeah, dude! I thought I was the best in the business, dude. And I called her, and I called her, and she gave me her resume, and she's like, this is who I am, and I've got this certification and that certification, and being young and not understanding what the heck I was doing, I hired her. And come to find out, she didn't even live in the state where my properties were,
Oh
and
my lord.
she lived down in Florida, and my property's in Indiana, and she's got this flunky person that I never even met back in South Bend trying to run all my properties. They
Mhm,
ran me up a ton of renovation bills that I got when I got to the properties. Didn't even look like any work had been done, and it
mhm.
was it was it was not fun. And so, oh my gosh, dude, when
So
she's
you
and it was one of those things when I got done with it, I just was like, I felt like I just got out of a boxing match with a very, very good boxer, and I had no training.
so I'm presuming you've been to the school for hard knocks when it comes to managing these manager people,
Oh,
and
dude,
you could take those
so many.
experiences and pass on to my rounduppers that are interested in doing multifamily for the multifamily CEO.
Definitely, definitely,
Alright.
because I know who you gotta what the questions you gotta ask. The questions you gotta ask. How do you know if they're a good one? Number one, she managed 90 units and I was giving her 23. Here's a quick side tip. Don't hire somebody in which you're going to give them 30% of their entire business.
Oh,
They
man.
manage 90 units and I've got 23 units. That's 30% increase overnight. She doesn't have the team to increase 30% overnight. And
Mm.
so one thing is make sure that you're giving units to a team that can proportionately handle what you're buying.
You didn't
And
know that
the
at the
one thing I
time
didn't
when you
think, no, I did not know that at the time. And so now I
ah,
do. Now I
good
do. And
tip.
so, but anyway,
Good
yeah.
tip
So
there, good
there's a
tip
good
there.
side tip for you. But the truth about this strategy of the CEO system is that it really hones in on these nuances so you don't fall in the trap and you don't fall in the trap. And this really the reason that it's called, by the way, a lot of people ask me, Mike, why is it multifamily CEO? And my hat that says MF CEO, that's what it stands for. And the people are like, why that? Because if you do multifamily the right way, it places you as the CEO of your life. You
That's
get to
cool.
start making the decision. Because for me, multifamily I used to work for my properties. Now my properties work for me. And
Mhm.
that's what I want you to be able to do. Don't get properties and have you work for them. That's a bad way to do it. Really bad way to do it. And so Chris and I started talking. We put together a New Year's special for you all that are here and listening because we wanted to bless you all in the new year and get you launched in this
Yes.
awesome asset class, replacing your income so you can
Get you
live life
rolling.
on your terms. So with the multifamily CEO, it's going to give you the foundations. This is an online digital program that's going to give you the foundations, the 5 modules of finding deals, funding deals, analyzing deals, managing deals, and then scaling deals. In the foundations, it's really in the foundation of multifamily. It's going to give you the ability to start getting your business going in the multifamily space. If you own one and want to start scaling, that's what this is for. Or if you've never done one, but you want to get started, that's also what this is for, because it's really meant to get you to the next level multifamily, no matter where you are. I also go over what's called my 0 to retirement plan. This is really cool because it can help you help your investors see how you can actually help them retire in a certain amount of time, but it also gives you the ability to retire in 5 years if you want to, with multifamily,
Wow.
not using any of your own money. So if we talk about the retirement plan, and in that retirement plan, we talk about what we call a freedom number. What's your freedom number, and how do you match that freedom number so you can live life on your terms, right? And then we're going to, of course, find deals. Everything starts with a deal. People think it's hard to raise capital. It's actually not that hard to raise money when you have a good deal. Now, you still need the strategy to raise capital, because there's a lot of good deals that have gone by the wayside because people don't know how to raise capital. But it makes it easier when you have a really good deal and know how to vet that. And then, of course, find money and how to avoid overfunding. What if you have more investors come on than you can handle? How do you handle that situation? So you want to make sure that you don't overfund your business, because if you overfund, I always say money is, and Chris, I'm sure you deal with this too. Money is quick. If you don't invest it, they go in
It's
someplace
gone.
else.
Yeah, they're gone.
It's gone. Yeah, it's gone. Exactly. So we want to help you replace that. And then, of course, operate like a pro. And this is where the money's made. I'm telling you, operations is where everybody loses and where everybody wins in multifamily. It's how you operate the deal. Because if you go through all the work to get it, now you got it. Unless you operate it well, that thing's going to go to, it's going to start to decrease, and rents aren't going to be paid, and you're not going to be increasing rents and keeping up with the market. And operations is where all your profit lives. And so you want to be able to operate well. And because we're going to give a couple bonuses away with this, and one of those bonuses is we're going to give 2 tickets to the 2-day multifamily live event. In 2022. We were going to do that this fall, and this is going to be a virtual event. We ended up pushing it to 2022. Dates are yet to be determined, but we're going to do a 2-day multifamily live event. We're going to be peeling back the curtains, showing you how to bust into the multifamily space.
Sweet.
so that you can do this. But we wanted to make sure that we, Napoleon Hill said people are decisive by nature. So we're going to give those to the first 15 people that come on board with us. And so if you want those tickets, lock in for the first 15 people that enroll. You're going to get 2 tickets to the multifamily live event. We want to reward those decisive decision makers that are out there. I love what Napoleon Hill said in his book, Think and Grow Rich. People are decisive by nature. What's that, Chris? Sorry, brother.
No, I said thank you. I'm listening, brother. Go.
Yeah, absolutely, man. No problem at all. So we're going to reward you all for taking action today. This is Essie. Her and David, her husband David, just closed on an 8-unit. They were in the program. They closed on an 8-unit building in Las Vegas. This building they bought it for $800,000. So this is probably going to be worth about 1.3 when they're done with it. It's a very, very good investment, by the way. So these are the kinds of deals I want you doing. And because these deals are out there. So when people say, there are no deals, this was closed, October 26th. That's 2 months ago, almost exactly.
Nice.
So there are still good deals. And so you can see the October 26th date right there on the post. And so October 26th, this year of 2021, they closed this deal.
Nice.
And so these are the kinds of deals I want y'all getting. But I'm also going to give you an online program I have called Seller Financing Secrets. And I don't know about you, Chris, but seller financing is one of those things. It's one of those ninja strategies. I think it's an underutilized strategy in real estate, personally, because it's such a powerful real estate. So you want to find out. So in seller financing, if you don't know what that is, that's where the seller is the bank, and you just make payments to the seller, and you don't actually have to go get a loan or anything. And so, but how do you locate those sellers? How do you turn average sellers into motivated sellers? How do you make them want to do a seller financing deal with you? How to negotiate those deals, and how to use different strategies so you aren't using your own money. That's what we go over in the program of Seller Financing Secrets, and you're going to get lifetime access to that program as a second bonus to you all for coming today.
Wow.
And so we put this together. So you're going to get the multifamily CEO online training. That thing goes for $1,000. And lifetime access to seller financing secrets. That also goes for $1,000. And we got a private multifamily CEO Facebook group you guys are going to join. And we put content in there all the time. And then you're also going to get something called the multifamily deal analyzer. Now, this might be my favorite thing I've ever created. I'm not as smart of a guy as I wish I was, but I could tell you this, that the multifamily deal analyzer is something I created to help you analyze these deals. How do you want to account for taxes and insurance and property management? Something called loss to lease. What the heck is that? We go over that in the course. By the way, loss to lease is any amount of money you lose in order to lease a property. What do you have to fix up? Do you have to do a marketing campaign? All this stuff matters in multifamily. Well, we created a tool so you don't have to remember all that.
Wow.
So again, remember, first, that should say 15 people that enroll. You're going to get tickets. And then you're also going to get the multifamily deal analyzer. That's what it looks like. And it tells you all of the things that you need to know. And then if you see down the yearly numbers down on the bottom, it's actually going to tell you your return on investment. This is a tool that I want everybody having because it makes sure that you're not getting into deals that are not good deals. And so this is kind of a protection. This is kind of like your Secret Service.
That's a plug and play thing where you have the numbers in and it asks you the numbers for the different items itemized for each unit.
That's correct. So the green, what you see in green is the numbers that you will input. So when you get financials from a broker, they'll send you a packet of financials on the property. These are the things, the taxes. If you see under the expenses, you got to put in the taxes and the insurance and down here on concessions. That's a whole nother thing. Utilities. You put in the greens and then it puts in all the whites for you. So you'll have to input the information from what the broker gives you. Then it's going to give you all of your financials. And by the way, in the course, I walk through a very detailed video on how to use this because this is one of the biggies of the program. So you want to make sure that you get a hold of this bad boy. And so we put this whole thing together. Again, you get the multifamily CEO training, lifetime access seller financing secret, private Facebook group, access to the deal analyzer. And for the first 15, we're gonna take you on a 2-day ride to the multifamily live event. We're giving you guys the New Year package is crazy. So it's a value of $7,800 of if we sold all this stuff off individually. Just our tickets alone to the event are almost $1,000 because you can make so much. If you're gonna make $30,000 on your first property or $10,000 on your first property, come on. That's crazy. That's crazy worth it. Of course, we're not charging you that. It's going to be one investment of $997. Then Chris said, "Yeah, but Mike, it's New Year's," and so I said, "Okay, so what are you thinking?" And we're going to give this all to you today for $397. This does go through. When are we pushing this through, Chris? Oh yeah, through
New Year's,
the
bro.
First of the year, New Year's. That's it. New Year's. After New Year's, it's gone. It's gone. And so you can get all this for under $400. Seriously, this is like a couple meals out, and you can have a lot of content. Hang out with me for 2 days, and we want to make a difference in this space and make sure you're getting the content you need.
So those 2 tickets, I want my round-uppers to know that the first 15 plus. That's a virtual event. That doesn't give them access to touch you. That just so you guys know, Mike is a lot more expensive. Anyway, that virtual, that's a great point, Chris. And that virtual event gives you access. That gives you the ability to access it wherever you are in the country and in the world. With in case you can't get away, you at least can tune in and lock. Chris and I just did an event last month virtually, and people, people just were able to take advantage of so much value in a couple of days. So that was cool.
Absolutely, yeah, that was fun, man. That was fun.
So round up, we're going to do some Q&A now. Head down to the link in the video description if you would like to 2022 get started in multifamily. Mike is the man. I've seen him in action. Matter of fact, I talked to him on the phone while he's flying around the country looking at these different units, right? So he'll be in the car, the broker shows up. Are these new relationships when the broker shows up? Are you just meeting them then, Mike? Have you culminated these relationships over time?
That's a good question, Chris. It's all over the board. Some are old, some are new. You called me a couple of weeks ago when I was in Kentucky under a 38-unit deal we just put under contract. And that deal, that was my first time. I had talked to that broker on the phone. Mm-hmm. That was my first time ever meeting him in person. And so you can build a relationship, even if they've never met you, to
Yeah.
enough to where they'll want to give you the property. You just have to do it the right way.
Nice. So Mike has set all that stuff
Absolutely.
aside for you. You get all those bonuses, the 2 tickets, the multifamily CEO, and the seller financing secrets, and the deal analyzer guys for under $400. Just like you said, a couple of times going out to dinner. I mean, yeah. So inflation stuff seems like everything's going up. It takes
That's
some time. I
true.
want you. I have to remind myself too. Like I know I buy stuff for kids, family, friends like that. But how much am I putting in my brain? How much money I gotta?
Mm.
We talk to my wife all the time.
Oh man.
How much are we spending on our brains? So just keep
Yeah.
that in mind as you're in the year.
Yeah, and I remember too, Chris, when I think about investors investing in my real estate deals, I
Mhm.
always feel better asking them to invest in my deals when I've invested in me
Yeah,
personally.
man.
This
Yeah.
is a personal thing for me. I feel like I can with integrity say, "Hey, you know what? I know what to do because I've invested in myself," right? And that's just a personal thing to me, but investing in
No,
yourself gives you so much more confidence when you're with investors, you know?
Mike is something I was reading. I don't know. Dan Kennedy said in some book, man, a confidence is so attractive. You just think about the beautiful girl, and she
Mm,
doesn't want to be with a guy that doesn't know what he's doing and all that stuff. Investors are the exact same way. When they know you know what the hell you're doing, and the only way to do
yep.
that is by trial and error, or like you did with the School of Hard Knocks, like we did, or just give somebody a few bucks and they walk you down the system.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Walk you down.
my whole career started that way, where I was doing it one offs and struggling, and now my wife and I kind of have a kind of an agreement. She's a business owner as well, where
Mm.
anytime we hit a hiccup or we want to do a new thing, we hire somebody. we
Hire
just go
somebody.
we go buy a program or we hire somebody because I'm like, dude, I'm not spending 5 years to figure this out. I
For
need
what?
somebody to break it down for me. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
for what? I just think you
You
gotta
know, I ain't
graduate
doing
to
that.
that. You gotta graduate to that level
Yeah,
though, because I was the
yeah.
same way
It's
trying to
just I'm
figure it
like,
out.
oh yeah, me too. Me too. You know, I'm going and there's a lot of amazing content out there. You can, I mean, Chris is proof. He does so much content. If you're not supporting this dude's channel, you crazy because he does
Mhm.
so much crazy stuff on his channel, just of amazing content. But I'll tell you what, a lot of times, man, investing in yourself, it also tells you you believe you're worth it. It
That's
says,
right.
hey, you know what?
Good point.
I'm worth this. You
Good
know,
point.
and you are, by the way, if you, in case you're doubting that, you know.
Alright. So, look, we got Moyo here. What up, Moyo? Coach K and Coach Mike, good afternoon.
Moyo. Yeah,
One of our new,
Moyo's in our private money inner circle. Chris and I's
yeah.
private money inner circle.
So we'll be seeing you next year, Moyo. Good to see you, my friend. So head on over to the link in the video description. If you don't see it there, just refresh your screen, and the join button. I heard somebody trying to find that does not work on the stinking iPhone. Who said that? Phil. For some reason, you can't join the Roundup fam
Oh, on
membership
the iPhone, I
on
got
the
you.
iPhone. I don't know why.
Oh, for your channel, you're saying, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's interesting.
Doesn't work.
That should work.
That is
Hmm.
weird. It doesn't work. Never. Somebody. So let's get to some Q&A. Mike's giving us the 60% off. It will be good until the first of the year. After that, it goes away. I mean, this stuff is thousands of dollars if you go. You can't get it anywhere else. Mike has done this specifically for me and the Roundup homies, period. Like the ability to
Yep.
have a large,
Can't get this anywhere. This.
no way. Yeah, the ability, the good thing that I'm blessed with having a huge following is that I get to work with others that have a lot of value to add to the marketplace. So as opposed to me going out and figuring everything out, I could just team up with people. Here we go again, strategic alliances. I don't want to figure out multifamily. Why would I do? Why? I got Mike Fritz. I could just plug into him, and he could plug into me regarding my private lending perspectives and raising
Absolutely.
different ways that we raise money. So Mike and I put together that, and make sure you're subscribed so you're gonna get so much good information on that in the new year too. 10% monthly.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Beverly, she's the one to get Beverly. I shouldn't even answer your question. You give me a hard time. Say I'm doing a playback. You ever did a playback, Mike? You got a webinar that's running out there?
No, right now I have no automation. Everything is live
Yeah.
right now.
I'm like, man,
You
you
know,
know I don't
everything
do
is
that.
live.
Mary, Monica, happy New Year. Look at that beautiful smile. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see. Man, so many. Somebody's in St. Croix.
Oh, St. Croix. Wow.
That's cool. Still bust my butt. 13 million views. I'm busting my butt. Get my first deal. Oh, good. What words of encouragement. Unfortunately, that is the first deal. Let me ask Mike. For me, the first deal was the hardest deal of my entire
Oh,
life.
Hands down, hands down.
I don't know
In
why
fact,
that
we
is.
actually have something in the industry we call the law of the first deal. And the
Okay.
law of the first deal is when that deal happens, it's like a dam breaks and so much lets loose. All of your investors, once you've done a deal, they're so much more willing to invest in your next one because they know
Oh
that
yeah.
you've done one.
Yeah.
And so and the broker, once you've closed a deal, they're like, oh, this person can close a deal. Let's give them a second one. Once you do that first deal, the dam breaks. And I
Yeah.
understand it's kind of like, what do they say? A plane uses 80% of its energy to get off the
Get off
ground.
the ground. Yeah.
And then it's a heck of a lot less energy to maintain. And so, yeah, getting off the ground, whoever answered that, asked that question, you're 100% right. Busting your butt to get your first one,
It's the hardest one.
that's the name of the game. Name of the game. Yeah.
13 million views. I think you got to just accept that fact, just like we have to accept the fact that real estate is all about deals and money. You just got to just accept the fact that you got to look at a lot of deals, talk to a lot of lenders to make it work. Once you get over that, it's just like finding a wife, man, or a spouse or whatever. You got to
Absolutely.
go through, you
It
can't just
is.
be marrying the first one. Like that's great.
No, 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 no. You gotta see. It takes work to find the
Yeah,
good one, man.
takes
It
work.
takes work. Yeah.
Dollar, we love you. Much love to you. Happy New Year. Thank you so much. Uh, Queen Muhammad Ali, when you raise private capital, is it treated like hard money loan or do you give your private money investors equity in the property, Mike?
Yeah, great question. So we are what we call equity investors. So we don't pay them a percentage to borrow their money. They're buying equity into the deal. So they're putting money in and they get a piece of that deal. So we give 70% away to our investors. Every deal is a little different, by the way. Deal structure, whole different science because you got to know some deals it's 80-20, and then we move to 70-30. Some deals starts. So the percentages aren't as important to understand as it is important to understand. We give about 70% to our investors. We keep 30. And so, yeah, we give them equity. They all have equity. We don't pay them a percentage to borrow their money. Now, I don't want them making, nothing on their money year 1 and 2. I want them making something. So let's say year 1, they don't make anything. Year 2, I'm going to pay them a lot of money. And I might even take none myself to make sure my investors are making money, but they're equity partners.
Sweet. Okay. So this is Mike. I
Yeah.
calculated you're giving like 60% off of your deal here, bro.
Oh, yeah, dude.
It's
Yeah.
more than
This
that,
is,
actually, because of the bonuses. It's like 7. Good Lord. Thank you, brother.
Yeah,
Thank you.
this isn't something like I said, this isn't something I even do. Like the tickets will be the tickets will be sold for more than this alone.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
Christine says multifamily brings the neighborhood down. Mike, what do you say to that?
that is false. It depends on the owner. This is where I come up with management. So a lot of people think multifamily brings the area down itself. But if you go to an asset that has a 300 unit apartment building with a gym and a pool, it doesn't bring the area down because it's about the quality of the asset. Right now, you'll often find multifamilies lumped together in certain markets. They keep them kind of in I don't want to say part of town, but they keep them in an area. And so that's kind of like a community thing. But again, multifamilies are already, and I don't encourage anybody to build multifamily, especially on your first deal, buy one. So it's already there. You might as well buy it and operate it more successfully so it's not bringing the area down. Because
Gotcha.
none of our properties, that property I just showed you all today, that doesn't bring the area down. That's a beautiful property.
That is beautiful.
And so our properties that we have because a single family can bring the area down too if it's a dump.
That's
You know
right.
what I mean?
Track heaters. Where do you find private lenders, Mike?
Oh, all over the board where I find private investors. So private investors, you got to remember, private investors are found in your backyard. And I mean, it's who you run into at church and who you play softball with and who you see at the gym. And it's not, see, private money for me, when I first started, I made a list of investors, and everybody should do this, make a list of people you know. But what I began to realize is it was less about the list and more about a way of life. Everybody I talk to is a potential investor.
That's
and
right.
I'm not talking about every relationship is, well, then no relationship's just for friends. I'm like, no, it's not about that. It's that everybody has has, maybe has some capital. So you just don't know. So again,
Don't
your
know.
private lenders and private investors, man, they're everywhere. So it's about us opening our eyes to every relationship as a potential investor.
Yeah, you never know. Hey, Moyo
You
said he
never
sent you an
know.
email, Mike, for the February location. We're still working on that, Moyo, right?
Yeah.
Are we?
Yeah. But Moyo, I already got back to you, brother.
Gotcha. Yeah. To make sure we
Yeah.
got
Moyo,
that.
that emails, I already responded to that, brother.
Okay. How do you know they're legit? Multifamily. Interested. Rashida, round up. If you're just joining us right now, the link is in the video description if you want to get rocking and rolling with Mike's Multifamily CEO. It comes along with seller financing secrets, 2 tickets to the live virtual event, as well as his deal analyzer. And I put 60%. This is like 70% off because I forgot about all that other stuff you put in there, Mike. That link is in the video description, y'all. Get started. Let 2022 be the year for you. Be the year for you, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How did you?
Absolutely.
Rashida, how many people gave you the capital? Maybe she's talking about that one deal.
That one deal. So that came actually from one investor. That was not multiple people. That was one investor. So every deal is a little different. Now, I would say the first deal I raised capital from, I had to raise about 200,000, and that was 4 $50,000 investors. No, I'm sorry, it was 5. It was 3 $50,000 investors and 2 $25,000 investors. So my first one, I broke it up a lot more. But that specific one I showed today happened to be one person. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you can take on as many as you want. There's no law against how many you take on.
Queen Muhammad Ali, what's your criteria for property manager companies? How do you choose them besides price and Google ratings? Good question.
Yeah, Google rate. Well, let me tell you one thing about Google ratings. Google ratings are essentially worthless, and let me tell you
They
why.
can be.
Most Google ratings are not from owners like me who have people manage their properties. Most Google ratings are from tenants. And a lot of times, if a tenant, can't pay rent, let's say, and the property manager evicts them or something, they'll go do a terrible review or whatever. So a lot of those reviews are disgruntled tenants. And so a lot of times those reviews are essentially worthless, just as a side note.
Wow.
But back up to, because people like me I don't Google review property managers. It's just not something I do. So, they don't really have, and a property manager that actually should be leveraging marketing like that. But most property managers aren't great marketers. And so they don't tell me, hey, will you go write us a good Google review, which they should be telling us to do that now that I think about it. But no, a lot of Google reviews are pretty worthless. So the way I look at it is I want to see what I want to see what kind of properties are you managing. But here's the thing. I don't hire a property manager unless I am referred to them. I never hire a property manager cold anymore. I made that mistake once. I ain't doing it again. And so there's 2 places I find my property managers: from my banks, my lenders, and from my real estate brokers, agents.
Sweet.
Because they both know good ones in the areas, and they'll tell me the legit good ones to work with.
Referrals.
Yeah, dude.
T.
I
Nikki
don't
K.
hire cold anymore.
That's rough. Look at that smile.
Yeah.
Nice smile. I used to be a property manager for 10 years. It's one of the hardest jobs ever.
Yeah, I know. Property
Nikki.
managers they are worth their weight in gold, the good ones.
Nikki, to get commercial loans from banks, will they require me to have a track record of maintaining 1 to 4 units?
Good question. Great question. No, they won't. But by the way, there is a strategy. If you can't get the loan, you partner with somebody that can. So there's ways to get loans in this industry. Like, people come to me all the time to ask me to come on deals because they can't cross the finish line with a loan, or they can't raise capital or whatever. But you just partner with people. That's why, all real estate is driven by partnerships. I mean, even you look at all the real estate Chris does. He partners with lenders and contractors. And there's partnerships
with
going
the owner.
everywhere. But partner with the owner. Yeah, exactly. Partner with the owner. That's a good point. The sellers, right? And so partnerships are all over. So if getting across that finish line with the loan is tough. So to answer your question quickly, no, they don't care about our track record. They really want to make sure that you have, you know what you're doing. So they'll ask you a lot of questions. Why are you investing in this property? Where do you see it going? What are you trying to do with it? They'll ask you questions like that. But your track record, they'll you can have somebody on the deal with a track record.
Okay, sweet. Alexander Silvers, what is the best way to find a partner with capital and to sponsor a great 40 unit in South Florida?
So again, back to our great question. Back to our, start reaching out to people that and know you, and see if they'd be interested in coming in on a
Yeah.
deal and sponsoring that deal for you. I mean, you got to
Yeah.
start reaching out to those who know you,
Yeah.
and know you, like you, trust you already. That's what I did.
That's what I did too.
You know,
Jewel, hey, with the
yeah. I mean,
restriction. Go ahead, Mike.
no, you go ahead, brother. You got it.
With the restrictions on evictions in different states due to COVID, should I let that deter me from purchasing multifamily now?
No,
Something to think
not.
about.
No, I personally wouldn't. Now, here's the thing. I don't pick my markets based on that. I pick my markets based on which markets are great for multifamily, and I don't worry about that. I've traveled to pretty much through the whole thing, and so no, I wouldn't let that deter you. Wouldn't let that deter you at all.
That's right. Juicing with Jay. I forgot. Hit that thumbs up, y'all. Mike's on here giving today. We're giving here. Mike on here giving. Gatira family, can you please share the link for the training on the charts? I can do that. Let me put that here. Oh, in the chat. Maybe she meant chat. Yeah.
Chat, probably in the chat. Yeah, put that link in the chat. There we go.
I might need you to just Mike, because the email you sent, I don't know if that's the right one, but I'll put what I have here. Here's the
let
link.
me double click this too here, Chris, and I might be able to do that for you here in the chat as well.
You good? Okay, that's good. Yeah, put that there. Thank you.
Oh, actually, I can't. I'm gonna let me see if I can do a private. There you go, Chris. I just threw it to your chat, your private chat.
Okay,
there.
cool. Yeah, this one. I think this is the same. The copy.
I just want to make sure it's going the right spot here too. Make sure you all are good and ready to go. Yep, that one I just sent you, Chris, is all good and ready to go, brother.
Okay.
Yep.
There you go. I'll put that in the chat for you there.
Dustin Forney, what's up, my friend?
Dustin, I'm not spending 5 years to figure this out. I'm not either. Oh man, how you say that, Mike? Kanira,
probably.
Should we start our first deal like with duplexes with your own money, because that's your only option?
Yeah. So that is, no matter who you are or where you are, it's not your only option. I assure you. It was mine, because the reason it was my only option is because I was limited up here. It was my mindset's only option. It wasn't my only option. There's many options. I mean, I think Chris, how long's your buddy, our buddy Dan, been raising capital since the 80s, right? I mean, private capital been around a long time, man, especially for real estate. So this is nothing new. I had it. It's available. I just didn't know what the heck I was doing back in when did I build that? 2001 maybe. And so I just didn't know what the heck I was doing. So I wouldn't start there. If I were all of you in multifamily, I would start with a 5-unit building, because it's considered commercial, and the rules are different and they're more favorable to you.
Mm-hmm.
They're more favorable to you, and because the banks look at it more like a business than just a piece of real estate. So 5 units and above, that's where I would start.
5 units and above. Isan, how do you keep track record of all the rentals or income? What software are you using, and what do you recommend?
Yeah, so good question. So I actually don't use any software. What I do is my property manager, my bank, and my CPA are all very intertwined, where the property manager is paying bills. Then they transfer the rest to my account. Then they have a software called Buildium. That's the most popular one in the property management space. My CPA gets that every month and does all the numbers. Mike doesn't do it, because again, remember, my property works for me. I don't work for my property. So I have to create a streamlined system, so I'm not digging into that stuff. But I see all that stuff, obviously. That's one thing you don't want to relinquish, is the movement of money in your business. I make sure that I'm always checking my account, seeing what's coming in, what's coming out, etc. Making sure I check all of our repairs for the month. What all we had. So you want to check that, but let your CPA and your property manager take care of all that for you. Good question, though. Really good question.
That was a good question, Isan. Hey, listen, guys, you got a few more days. Mike is doing this special for you. You get this multifamily CEO. That's $1,000. Seller finances, another $1,000. The tickets to go to the live event, and the software, the deal analyzer for $397. That video is in the link. That link is in the video description below, y'all. All right. So it's going to be live until this Saturday. That's it. First of the year, it goes away. You can't get this anywhere else. Why? Because I have personally negotiated this on your behalf. I'm an advocate for you. All right. Mike, final thoughts. Let's get out of here, man. We've been on here for an hour and 15 minutes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just again, let's go to 2022 without any excuses. Let's just remove them, take them. Napoleon Hill said, be decisive. Successful people are decisive by nature. Be decisive. And so, Moyo, yeah, it's I'll resend it, brother, but it was probably 2-3 days ago. So, or whenever you send it out. But either way, let's go into 2022 ready to just say, listen, excuses aren't my game this year. Let's set a couple goals. Let's get a couple properties this year for you, cash flowing for you. And I'd love to have you, have your tool like this in your toolbox. But again, more importantly, I'd love to have you take more steps towards whatever your ideal life is, or what Ramit Sethi says, what's your rich life? Being able to give and live and whatever is important to you.
You know, it's weird, Mike. I think once again, and when I'm on the screen a lot, we're here. You know, people look differently because being on the screen, right? Because even when we were negotiating that deal the other day, the young lady brought it up, YouTube and all that stuff. But I want you guys to know, right? Mike and I, well, I don't want to speak for my foot. We have to do the same thing. We have to level up too. We got to level up on stuff too. So we get to a certain part in life or a certain goal, right? We got to go out and spend and take more training and do more networking and meet new people too, right? So not only it is a prerequisite for you to actually raise up your operating system continually. We have to do the same thing, no matter how high you get, right? 1 million, 2 million, 3 million.
So
4.
true.
It's always another operating system. Every once in a while, in the corner of my screen here, it reminds me, Chris, you got to update your operate. Google requires me. I have to update it every few weeks. It's just a part of being a successful entrepreneur. So when he says excuses, we have to live by the same code. And I don't, sometimes I have the resistance. I don't want to do it. I'm like, dude, Mike pushes the shit out of me. Like, I'm driving to West Virginia, right? I'm gonna be hanging right here, working, doing my deals. Mike's like, dude, we need to do this. We need to do that. We need to do that. So I get around people, take courses from other guys like a Mike Fritz. So I just want you to know that we're in the same boat as you. Okay. So don't think that just because we're doing this, we're not any bigger, better. We just have to continually to grow.
Absolutely, man. That's a good reminder too, Chris. Because I mean, I remember, if you want to earn more, you have to learn more, right? Well, a lot of times the place where all that great education lives is inside of investing in yourself. And I think it says something to your brain when you say, I'm going to invest in myself. I think that says something to you. It says something to your mindset that I'm worth it. I'm going to do this. And I remember the first time I invested in a coach show, Chris, I was nervous, man. I was nervous. I invested and I'm like, the very first thing I ever bought was $47. And then I bought maybe $197 product. And then it was $1,000 product that came with 2 tickets to an event. I went to that event and then I hired a $15,000 coach.
Wow.
And then I went to a $10,000 real estate training, and I just continued over and over. And I stayed with that $15,000 coach for 3 years, by the way.
You can tell.
But the whole point is, you have to. It's so true, Chris. And what you said is I couldn't say it better, man.
Yeah, you can tell people that invest in themselves. I mean, it's almost like night and day. Even when I'm meeting a new client or doing a consultation, Mike, I'll ask questions. I'm like, okay, this is the problem. What did you read? What did you learn about this?
Yeah,
dude. You can tell like night and day.
Dude.
It's like I'm like,
that's so true.
What did you watch this? Okay. Yeah. So anyway, round up. I'm not beating you up. I just want to encourage you, right? Invest in yourself. I know everybody wants to look fly, shoes, clothes. And I was in the gym today. I'm like, what makes people spend all this money on stuff but not take their education seriously? So, and I know the roundup homies are not like that. We appreciate you for supporting too. All right,
and
Mike.
I'll tell you what, Chris, one time. Yeah, absolutely, dude. I just want to say thank you again for having me on. I love working with you, and I love helping people with you, brother. So thank you again, and thank you all for joining us today.
All right, the link's in the video description. Make sure you take a second, subscribe, roundup homies, hit that like button, and share other people, family members. when you go to your family outings, you go hanging out for New Year's Eve for. I'm gonna ask Mike. I know you gotta get out of here. When I go to these little dinners or whatever, I'm like, man, I'm looking for the guy. We talk about let's talk about what you're doing. I don't want to talk
I
about
know, dude. Same too.
basketball, football. I'm like, it's not my thing. And I'm not mad at anybody that wants to talk about it.
No,
I have
dude.
no idea about
Talk
that
real
stuff.
estate. No, it's true. Dude. And I can tell you, you mentioned a second ago, dude, about people that invest in themselves. I remember one time I was working with an SEO guy, was working on my online stuff, and he didn't know who Russell Brunson was. Now, for
Oh,
me, that's a
an
big
issue.
red flag.
Yeah, that's
Because Russell Brunson essentially is the president of online marketing right now. He owns the company called ClickFunnels. I just went to his event a couple months ago, 3,500 entrepreneurs in the room, over
wow.
4,000 entrepreneurs virtually worldwide.
Wow.
The guy is a brilliant. He just got offered $1 billion for his company and he turned it down. If that's okay. And so when he said, I don't know that guy, I'm like, when I hear Chris is like, he's reading Dan Kennedy and Jim Rohn and Ron, all these guys, I'm like, see, this guy runs in the same circles. He knows what he's doing. It gives me like a sense of security, like, yeah, that he's investing.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that's
right.
huge, dude.
That is huge, man. Yeah, we're connected too. It's almost like aren't you successful guys are connected with those dudes, right?
It's totally, dude. You get the higher you up, the less people there are. It's a tighter knit group, man.
That's right. All right.
So, all right, man. Good to hang with you today, buddy.
Yep. Round up. I'll see you guys soon. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel. Love you. Peace.